Them tell you you no green. You say on a story, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, once again, still on justice for Mohbad. We do not know what this is going to become, but I'm going to quickly go to what is trending, like trending for serious right now. I'm talking about the DNA. As you can see, on that is 3rd of December 2025. You'll be shocked at what you're about to see. I told you guys it's going to be a back to back. How long is this going to how long is it going to linger? So this is press release and status update on Mr. Joseph Aloba DNA application in suit number blah 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 between Mr. Joseph Aloba versus Mrs. Omoumi Cynthia Adebanjo, even though she wants to be called Aloba, and the court's ruling of December 2nd, 2025. This is Cynthia and a lawyer dropping their own response, which they called press release. You'll be shocked at what you're about to see and hear. This is to brief the public on the latest developments regarding the DNA proceeding initiated by Mr. Aloba himself and the continued attempts to delay and manipulate a process he voluntarily brought before the court. All hearing of December 2nd, 2025, Mr. Aloba appearing this time with yet another new counsel, Oladayo Gungbe Esquire, introduced a fresh application seeking to compel the court to use two specific foreign hospitals personally selected by his team for the DNA analysis. His counsel argued rather conveniently that these were the only hospitals capable of producing an accurate and reliable result. Counsel to Mrs. Omoumi Aloba S.A. Salahuddin reminded the Honorable Court of the actual history of the matter. It was Mr. Aloba who initiated the DNA application. It was Mr. Aloba who agreed to the initial consent judgment, which came about as a result of the application that he brought to the court. It was Mr. Aloba who applied for the second time that the DNA should be taken abroad, a request the court granted. And now, after securing permission to take test abroad, it is again Mr. Aloba who is attempting to dictate the exact hospitals to be used, choosing facilities known only to him, thereby attempting to influence and control a process that should remain neutral by asking the court to vary its order. The court saw through the pattern of shifting positions, repeated delays, and constant change of legal strategy. The Honorable Magistrate, after listening to the argument and objection raised by S.A. Salahuddin Esquire, counsel for the respondent, Mrs. Omoumi, found merit in saying, holding firmly, that the neutrality of the DNA process must be preserved, and the selection of the testing hospital rests solely with the court, not with the parties. That might jeopardize the process. Now, before I proceed, or let us get to the end of it, then I'll drop my beat. Once it became clear that his request to unpick hospitals would not be entertained, counsel to Mr. Aloba then withdrew the applicant's application in open court, which was eventually struck out. The court also reaffirmed that payment for the DNA testing remains the responsibility of the applicant since this is his application. This is yet again the third ruling the court is giving at the instance of Mr. Joseph Aloba's DNA application. The court would designate the approved hospitals without interference from either party. All parties must make themselves available to the process when contacted. All parties submitted their contact information as directed and will be reached by the assigned welfare officer to arrange sample collections and related logistics. The case has been adjourned to February 3rd, 2026. For administrative update, Mrs. Omoumi and her legal team remain committed to full cooperation and transparency. Unfortunately, the same consistency has not been observed on the other side, given the constant re-strategizing, council changes, and attempts to shift the goalposts each time the council declines to bend to their demands. Nevertheless, we will continue to rely on the law, the court's wisdom, and the facts rather than theatrics to bring this matter to proper conclusion. Now, let me drop my beat. Let us look at this part so we can get clarity. Once it became clear that his request to unpick hospitals would not be entertained, counsel to Mr. Aloba then withdrew the application in open court, which was eventually struck out. It is so sad, like really, really sad. I mean, like sad. When I say sad, this is sadness. If you know what I mean. If you don't know, let me break it down. So Cynthia is alleging that Mohbad's father is the one that does not want DNA done. Mohbad's father is alleging also that Cynthia is the one that does not want DNA done. Some are saying if she really wants the DNA done, she should have given Mohbad's father Liam and say, go and do the DNA. I'm not afraid. That sounds stupid, isn't it? 2. Mohbad's father said the same thing. We told them, bring Liam. Bring Liam. Does it sound like wisdom? Why would she bring Liam when there is a fight already? There's a division already. Bring Liam to us. Like, it doesn't make sense. He even sang it in one of his songs. He said, is it not the father that owns a child? Is it not the father? Like, you know, application of culture that has no base or standing with the law. Now, let us proceed further on this matter because it's serious. It's not a joke. Now, they took this case to the court, presented it, and the court accepted that DNA will be done. Don't forget, at first, the quarrel fight was that Mohbad had accepted the child when he was alive, so therefore DNA is not important. Is it DNA? Is DNA what we need to be talking about? Is DNA this? Is DNA that? Is DNA what we need to talk? Is it not funny, ladies and gentlemen? They say, is it not DNA? Some say it is DNA. Okay, so we left that part of DNA and no DNA. Since the court said, oh, it's fine. If DNA will prove motive, then let's proceed with the DNA. But since Mohbad's father requested for it, the court said, we won't be covering for it. Now, the court simply came in when it seems there is this issue, argument, apart from the court agreeing that the DNA be done, the court came in also as umpire again, like, okay, since the DNA has to be done, it's fine. Wherever it has to be done, it's fine. But we will be choosing where this DNA will be conducted and not Cynthia or Mr. Loba, because you cannot decide where it will be done abroad. Now, to them, once it is done abroad, it's fine. It is neutral. There won't be any problem. We'll get the required answers. Some said, oh, it's not possible for any manipulation abroad because they don't, of course, to an extent, but then it doesn't mean that manipulation and all of that does not occur. It does. It does occur. And don't forget that we have Nigerians, Africans, or even other ethnic and other race. Let's say a friend of a Pakistani that works there, like, hey, look, this is the outcome of the result. You're going to be paid $20,000, $10,000 for this. Really? All right. I'm going to give whatever. Of course, anything can happen. Now, what is the solution to this when issues become complex? Mohbad's father should be ready to pay 3 hospitals or laboratory. One for Cynthia to get it done in a reputable hospital. Hospital that people know, laboratory that people know, where, of course, it's going to be done abroad anyway. Hospitals that people know, laboratories that people can go to, where accessibility is not an issue. Mohbad's father too will do one abroad, wherever he wants. And then the government, because if I say the public cannot, unless an NGO. So the government will also do theirs in a known hospital abroad. So the government will be like the test. The government will be like the umpire here to settle whatever squabbles, at least 3. And don't forget that Mohbad's father has already done with his son. So this can be put together. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and see. They said it is well. And they said Mohbad's father and his lawyer wanted to take it out. Like, no, we are not going to proceed with this anymore. We want this to be done the way we want it. We want it to be done in the hospital that we choose. How come Mohbad's father and lawyer are not reasonable at all? This test has to be done in 3 places. Cynthia, where do you want to have your test done? You must present it. And we want to know. Sample will be given to you. Go ahead. Don't forget that it is not just the answer to it. It is not just the answer. Positive, negative, 99% point. There are other information that are given. There are other info that are given. So if Cynthia's test comes positive, Mohbad's test from the father comes negative, and the one from the government, that is if they are not able to influence that, comes negative, will Cynthia say the government is a liar and Mohbad's father is a liar? Now, if the test comes positive for Cynthia and for the government positive and negative for the father, now the laboratory in question will be investigated. Simple as ABC. The same if it is that of, it will be investigated like, hey, is this the test? I trust justice seekers. They will leave whatever it is that they're doing and go to that laboratory or hospital. We want to know. And that laboratory will not want such negative publicity. No, not at all. They won't want that. If Nigerians can go to the laboratory where they said autopsy was conducted by the government with placards, tell me where they cannot go.